Everyone say hello to Kassi Ashton right here.
Hi.
First of all, am I saying it right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, because I think that's part of when somebody gets introduced to a name they've never seen before. Because your name's spelled uniquely too, right?
I know, my dad doesn't know how to spell, that's why.
Do people like say Casey and stuff sometimes?
Oh yeah, all the time. My dad apparently was told my mom let's name her Kassi, and my mom being stubborn, she said, okay, you pick it, you spell it. And my dad is the kind of guy that wears overalls with no shirt. Yeah. And in his shop with his motorcycles, I'm why would you let him pick a child's name spelling
that you have forever?
Right? That you have forever, no keychain, no anything.
But no keychain. You can't go to a souvenir stand on Broadway and get the license plate that says Kassi.
Yeah.
But it's better, I would think, once you're in this business.
Yeah, it is really cool because when you type it into anything, it's quicker to come up because it's a rare spelling.
So this is the first time I think we've met in person.
Yeah.
And I've loved Cassie's music for a long time. And you hear this there's this buzz about Kassi Ashton in Nashville, which is really cool. But my goal with these videos is always let's get to know you. So let's go back. So you grew up, I'm assuming, in California, Missouri?
Yes.
Much like a song that will come up?
Yes.
So what life was like then? Was it you and your parents? You have mom and dad? You have brothers and sisters?
So I grew up kind of in what I call two different worlds. So my parents, I'm a love child, so my parents were never married. So I grew up in town with mom, dancing classical ballet 6 days a week, 7 during Nutcracker season, competitive dance, beauty pageants, theater, everything on stage. Yes, okay. This is me doing this stuff. Art, fashion. And then at dad's, I lived on a farm just outside of town where deer season is bigger than Christmas. And I shot muzzleloaders competitively for 10 years with my grandpa and grew up on dirt bikes. And my dad's a big motorcycle fanatic. So I always wanted to be just as much one as I was the other. And I still do. And I like to bring that into my music. So yeah, being in a small town like that, California, Missouri is 4,000 people, and you're kind of the weird, different kid who is willing to kind of live outside of a box and kind of has big plans and big dreams. That can be difficult, which is where that song came from.
What is when did the music come into play then? Is that part of the in town with mom package?
Yeah, definitely. So mom sings as well. Mom's the singer. And I always say I have been singing since before I could read, because my mom used to sneak me into karaoke bars. I'm talking when I was 4 or 5, and I would sing My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, but I couldn't read the prompter, so she would stand behind me and mouth the words in my ear. Yeah. And just growing up always with a house full of music, and if you were in the kitchen and she handed you the broom and it was Fancy by Reba McEntire and you got the words wrong, grounded. You are in trouble.
Here's your one chance. Don't let me down.
Yeah.
What a lot of pressure from that song.
I know, because there's a lot of verses.
Yeah.
It has a lot of,
Do you have videos of that? Did you crush My Heart Will Go On?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have to ask.
You've never seen a video?
No.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
I have one video where I'm at the fair in my hometown on this gooseneck trailer, because that's what stages were, and singing Mary Had a Little Lamb, but I couldn't read the prompter. And did you know there are more verses than the one we know? Okay, I didn't know that. So I'm in this white dress and I can't read, and I didn't know that there are more verses. So I just kept singing the same verse and twirling all around the stage. I won, but
it followed her to school one day and all kinds of other stuff.
Oh yeah, no.
You won though?
They didn't teach me that. Yeah, I was a little kid.
So how did this your story of how different your mom and dad were? Then you go how did they meet?
They met actually. My dad. So there's a big meat distribution company. Shout out Burger Smokehouse. They have the best bacon and the best ham. For real, I never want any other bacon. That's where my dad works. He's worked there since he was 20, and he goes around to food shows and cooks bacon and drinks beer and gets restaurants to use the bacon. He has the best job ever. And then mom at the time worked for UPS, and mom and him were dropping a package off at the same place. And my dad's driveway is really long and has a complicated farm gate, a mile from the house, and he's they were talking, and she's I know where you live, and he's you don't know where I live. And she's yes I do, you're the bleep bleep with the complicated gate, I could never get your packages to your house. So they like raced to my dad's house, and my dad took the long way to be nice. And when he got there, my mom was waiting at the gate.
Oh my God. And did they date? Like, were they in serious relationship?
Yeah.
Or when you say love child?
Yeah, for like 3 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then how long were they together when you were born, or were they?
They were together, I think, up until like pretty much I was born, and then. But I'm so happy that I grew up.
No, it sounds like
imagine.
it really is two different like worlds that most people would never get to experience both.
Yeah.
And then when did you leave California?
Missouri.
Missouri. And move to Nashville?
Right after I graduated high school, I came here to go to Belmont University and majored in voice with a minor in music business. So 2012.
Okay, so music had probably, I guess I never asked you about the middle part.
No,
so we knew that you started music when you were like 4. You were doing karaoke. Your mom snuck you into bars that you weren't supposed to be in. Whatever. Winning competitions at the fair. When did it become like a lifestyle for you? Like you're actually writing music and you're playing instruments?
Yeah, I always knew that that's what I wanted to be my whole life. Like my playroom, my mom had like built me this fake stage with this like archway of curtains and lights out of the JCPenney catalog, and when you pulled the thing, it like opened the curtains and there was a clap track, and I would always put on shows. And I think I always sang in beauty pageants and would actually sing for like some dances at dance competitions like for my company, but I didn't start playing guitar and writing till probably 14. I started really getting into poetry in middle school because you're like that angsty like a middle schooler that's like the world is falling down, like I'm crying, my life is horrible. And then I realized around like 14 when I started getting really interested in boys, that if I put a melody to the poems it was a song. And I remember the first song I learned on guitar was actually Taylor Swift because it was like 3 chords and I was like, this is easy.
Yeah, what was the song? Do you remember?
You Belong With Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't write music, but I love it. I'm like so fascinated by people that create music. To me, the reason the song was made is why I love music the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like what inspired writing it.
Yeah, me too.
So do you write with, like, because you just said that you take it from poems. So do you write lyrics first or do you write music first?
I would say a lot of times I'm a words lyric person because I like to have like an actual story behind the song or like something that I can actually say it is because of this that I wrote the song or this line came to me because of this weird experience, you know. Sometimes the most serious songs have funny backgrounds or vice versa, but I'm definitely lyrics, except if it's a fast song that I want to dance to because then you hear like that beat underneath and then you just find words to put on top of it.
Just so you can kick it through the song?
Yeah.
Are any of your songs like that where you were like any of the ones you've released?
Like beat first?
Yeah. Or you were just like, let's just fill this because I love the groove of it.
No, not so far, no.
Okay. So let's go through the songs real quick.
Okay.
So California, Missouri, we kind of learned about that. It's about your history growing up.
Mm-hmm.
When did you write it?
I wrote it probably 2 years ago it wasn't very long after I had signed my publishing deal. I wrote it with Luke Laird, who's like one of the owners of I'm at Creative Nation, my publishing company. We had written a couple times and figured out very quickly that like he is the other side of my artistic brain. Like we're like we feed each other sentences musically. And then we were writing with Shane McAnally, who I'd met but hadn't written with yet, and it was perfect because he had just gotten back from his hometown where he like feels quite similar.
Is it a small town?
Yeah, I think it's just I can't remember if it's as small as mine, but I know it is like kind of boxed and stereotypical like California, Missouri is. And that's the song that I always wanted to write, but I was really nervous because I wanted to get it right because it's a very double-edged sword for me and I wanted to say it truthfully and as honestly as I could and not try to put like a Nashville twist on it. And it was like the perfect people to be writing with, the perfect like day and circumstance, and they let me say exactly what I wanted to say and didn't try to like make it into like, you know, more pretty than it should be. It was just like be honest and that's why the melody is so like rhythmic, so that we could get the words in. And then I remember the next day I like listened to it like for 24 hours straight and I went up to Luke's studio like crying and I was like, it's perfect, like thank you so much, like I feel just like it's coming from here. I was freaking out.
Do you remember getting like the first response to it from somebody? Like was there a reaction you loved?
Oh yeah, I think we played it in the office, like in Creative Nation. It's like we're in this big house, and I think we played it for like the office right afterward, and everybody was like, knowing me and knowing my story, was like, like, this is, you did it, like, this is perfect. And I was like, okay.
Did your parents give you feedback?
So I was really nervous to play it for my dad because he was born and raised there, and kind of didn't see, you know, the ugly side of it until like part of my life, and he would have to deal with, you know, how people were treating me or what I had to go through. And I still was very, very nervous, right? And I like kind of sat there like kind of, you know, shaking a bit, and he like finished, and he crosses his arms and he goes, they won't like that. And I go, I know, Dad, but like I had to be honest, like. And he goes, he said the F word, and he said F them. And I just like died. I was like, oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then your mom was probably a little bit more.
Yeah, she agreed.
It, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. What's next? Let's go. Is taxidermy next?
Taxidermy is next.
Taxidermy, fun. Like so much fun. I was actually at the gym the other day, and I was just listening to you because I want to make sure I was like really comfortable with everything that you do. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize until I'm like trying to lift this little ton of weight. I'm like, my shoulder hurts, and I like get up. I'm that guy that's like, oh yeah, the shoulder. I like make excuses for no one caring anyway. But I was listening to taxidermy, and I was like, man, this is just an anthem. Like, just like gets you involved. So where did that start, and where did it come from?
So taxidermy is actually the only song I've released that I didn't write.
Really?
I know, everyone's like, sounds like you wrote it. Natalie Hemby, who's like my sister basically, and Luke Dick and Rosie Galan wrote it. And Natalie called me right afterward, and she's like, we wrote you a song today. Like, you weren't in the room, but you were in the room, and it's called Taxidermy. And I was like, oh, like, you know, that's a very like
deep,
jarring,
kind of a dark thought.
That's a very jarring title, even for me who like grew up in that world. I thought, oh no, because normally Natalie Hemby songs, whatever they are, they're amazing. Like, it could be, oh, McDonald had a farm, and you're like, yes, perfect. But as soon as I heard it, it like perfectly embodied my two worlds. Like, because my mom only listens to like power females, and it's kind of like, if you look at me sideways, I'll punch you in the face, basically. And then at Dad's, it was like on the farm and deer season, yada yada yada. And I was like, I have to have this song, because for better or for worse, that title will in a list will make people click on it.
Yeah. Is there something about that song that you can, like, the idea of the song or the message behind it? What's the thing that, like, what does it make you think of?
Almost all of my boyfriends, almost all of my ex-boyfriends cheated on me. So that's a very nice, you know, you draw from personal experience with that song.
Is there one more than the others that you were like singing to?
No, they all
click through your head the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay, so we should move forward to violins, right?
Yes.
All right, violins is, you may have seen me, I started like stalking you at violins. So like, this song is phenomenally catchy, like unbelievably catchy.
Thank you.
And so quirky as a music video.
Yeah.
That, well, first let's talk about the song, and then let's move on to the way that
video?
you design certain things, the video and the clothes in particular.
Okay.
But yeah, for the song, where did violins come from?
So I was writing, again, Natalie Hemby and Luke Dick, because I love them. And I think we were actually talking about exes or people. Me, it was exes, and Natalie, it was like someone who whines too much. And my dad used to always say, oh, I'm playing you the world's smallest violin, like, can you hear it? And I said that, and I'm like, I can't even hear, like, I'm talking about someone else trying to play me their sad song. I'm like, I can't even hear it, like, I'm too busy. And Natalie literally sang that, I can't hear the violins you're playing. And I was like, yeah. We all, like, looked at each other, and then Luke Dick literally went, wow, 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 and I was like, yep, that's what we're doing today.
That's amazing.
So it was, yeah, it's perfect. And I love them both because there's no box. There's no, oh, we can say this, we can't say this. It's like, let's just put the weirdest thing that we can think of in this song. Like, yeah, I'm gonna like drive your Jag, and like, you're not gonna rub my gypsy lamp, and like lots of weird off the wall things.
And that's something I don't think we hear from anybody else right now.
No.
Have you started to realize that's part of your identity? Is this unconventional thing?
Yeah, and I think I've always been that way. even, you know, growing up, I don't appreciate, I'm not really a gray area type of girl. I think you should just be black or white when it comes to art. Like, either say something or don't.
Yeah.
You know, either, you know, polarizing isn't necessarily a bad thing to me.
Yeah. So for the outfits, are we good to move there? Because
Yeah.
my understanding is, and this is all hearsay, but
Yeah.
this is what people have been telling me for weeks. They're like, yeah, the cool thing about Kassi Ashton is she makes her own clothes and stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you make the outfits in violin?
Yeah.
So like the band uniform and all that? That was you?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
When did you start designing clothes?
When I was really young. So creatively, I am kind of a monster. Like, I love to sing, write, paint, design clothing, act, dance, build furniture, like anything that you can express something that you're feeling or that someone else is feeling, and you have options to customize. I've always wanted to learn how to do that. So my mom is the one that could sew, and I was this tall, skinny, you know, ballerina who no clothes fit ever. They were always too big. And she would always take in my clothes, and so I learned from her, and she would take me to like the Salvation Army and let me buy like 80s prom dresses and rip them apart and redo them. And of course they never worked at the time, like in middle school, you know, because I had no idea what I was doing. But now it pays off.
Yeah. What's the best thing you ever created clothing wise? Whether we've ever seen it or not.
Oh, that is so hard. My favorite.
Don't you think one just stood out in your mind though right away?
Yeah, the white dress that I just made, and I wore it to the UMG CRS luncheon at the Ryman, because I love drama and like volume, but I also like very crisp utilitarian, like pockets and like canvas and collars and buttons. So this was like a perfect mix. It had these big billowy like Renaissance sleeves, but the top was like a cotton, like heavy, almost like a doctor's coat top with the collar, and then the bottom was like these waves of like white chiffon, and it was short and cool. I looked like a very high fashion chicken.
But you made it and you wore it there because you wanted to wear it, right?
Yeah.
Is there something that you've seen somebody else wear that you're like, I wish I had done that?
I think, as far as country music, Karen Fairchild, everything she wears, I'm like, you're beautiful. And I love, Carla is her stylist, and I think everything she does is amazing.
Yeah, Karen's always been super cool.
It's cool and drama, and you know, it's gorgeous.
So last one, let's get to Pretty Shiny Things.
Yes.
Is this one a super personal song, or is that just me forcing that on you?
Yeah, no, it's personal.
It
All
seems
the songs are
really
personal.
but this one to me, that was the one where I was like, whoa, like so deep. And maybe it was just because I went, maybe because I'm stupid.
No,
I didn't
you're not
understand
wrong.
the message until I heard it that way, but it was so crystal clear. So this just came out when we're filming this, but it's like, it's so drastically different from Violent.
Yeah.
So what is it about Pretty Shiny Things that inspired you to write the song?
So I wrote that song before I had my publishing deal. I was still in college, and I was going through some things, and I literally, this sounds so cliche, but woke up like dead sweat in the middle of the night. Like you just had a nightmare, basically. And went to my end of the end of my bed where I had a piano, and I wrote part of it. And I sent it to my best friend, Emily Landis, who didn't have a publishing deal, songwriting major at Belmont at the time. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And she sent it back to me finished, because she knew my story and knew me very well. And that was the first time that both of us were like, oh shit, like honest art is the best art. You know, we should tell real stories, like we're songwriters. And that's kind of the song that helped me get my publishing deal and find my family. And it's been a while since I wrote it, but it still always reminds me of like why I do it and why I write, and that I should always be sincere and authentic, because then I think it gives people, like, it makes people brave enough to be real and authentic and honest as well. And I kind of always want that to be a theme in what I do.
Did you have any fear when you started to share that song?
No.
Like
no.
even sending it to Emily? Never? It was just like...
Because Emily at the time, that was a very, warm place to be sending something so vulnerable, and I knew that she understood. And if it shouldn't have seen the light of day, she would have told me. Be like, hey, you're in your feelings, go back to sleep. But she said, no, you've got to do this. Like, here, I'll help you. I know that this is hard for you to fully, she was there to pick up the little pieces that I couldn't get out. And I think, because it has been quite a while, it just, every time I listen to it, since the time I wrote it, it soaks in more to me that it's a great and wonderful thing to be honest and authentic, because we're all human and we forget that a lot of times, especially in social media culture. You just see highlight reels and you see everybody's good days and nobody acts human anymore, and I think that's really terrible. So to try to put something out and say, hey, just to remind you, we all have skeletons and we all have things that hurt and things we're dealing with, and it's okay for you to feel and share your skeletons as well.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
And I hope that I like music that I feel will change somebody's day, their whole day. And every song you put out will change somebody's whole day, one direction or another direction.
Thank you.
It's a lot of pressure because now you have to keep doing it.
Oh no, I don't mind.
Huh? No, you don't.
I don't mind.
Good. What's the next step, real quick, before we wrap it up? Like, what is next? You're super excited, 2019, for this.
So we are putting out a song like every 8 to 10 weeks this year, with full music video and full content. And I'm like an images freak. Like, I see everything in images and explain. I like do all the artwork for my songs and design all the merch and do the treatments for the music videos. So the fact that the fact that I get to I know that this year that I will be constantly creating and just letting visions come to life and then seeing them at the end, as a full product, it just makes me so happy.
Awesome. This is Kassi Ashton.
Thank you.